how we build things here, and a little bit about the product and the work we do and the work we need to do. So this is something I put on the wiki a long time ago as one of our principles. I actually had a period after delight our users, but then I realized that it's more important to delight their users, which are their customers and payers. And the more we focus on that payer experience, the more we focus on really making that magical and designing it, we win, our users win, and we get more users. So going back to a lot of Brian's points, this is a big focus for us. We're the only payments company in the world that's concerned with design. We are all designers in this room. And that's how we're leading this company, through design. So how many of you have walked or driven across this bridge? This is the Golden Gate Bridge. Almost everyone in the room. Who hasn't? Oh, okay. This is one of my favorite parts of living in San Francisco. This is astoundingly beautiful. And it's not just beautiful because it looks pretty. It's beautiful because of the challenge that everyone who built this bridge overcame to build it. So if you go back and you look at how this bridge was built, this is what San Francisco looked like before the bridge. This was the Golden Gate. It's called the Golden Gate because San Francisco was known for gold rushes. People would come here, explore, and try to, risk everything they have to live in an environment that they might find gold at, or might find work, or might open an orchard of some sort. So this is the Golden Gate. This is the fort right on the point in the Presidio. There's this big divide between this fort and Marin. There are a lot of people living in Tehran and Sausalito. And what they would do is they would go all around the bay, all the way up to get around to this, cross the river up by Richmond to get this. So they wanted something that was a little bit faster. The war was over. We weren't using this fort much anymore. So they decided to build a bridge. So very simply they said, we need to build a bridge here. They got an architect. The architect had vision. Actually, it was a few architects, and one person has incorrectly taken credit for most of the work, which was recently rectified. It's a fascinating Wikipedia article if you have a chance to read it. Designed this gorgeous bridge. But the problem with a bridge in Golden Gate is this is extremely tumultuous area. If you've ever sailed through this or taken a boat through this, the waves are immense, or surfed through it, which is even more dangerous, and I'm sure Kyle from our risk team has tried to surf through it. It's a disaster. I mean, all of the weather of the bay is being forced through this one single point. So all these elements create this perfect storm of turbulence. It's extremely deep in the middle, and it's an epic span. So this was not an easy challenge. They got a bunch of amazing engineers, and they took it step by step and iterated. And there was a lot of back and forth between the architect's vision to make this beautiful opening into this gorgeous city that we live in, and what is possible. What is beautiful? What is possible? And that's really what it comes down to. We want to design the beautiful and build the impossible. And a lot of people think of design, when they hear the word design, as visual, something that looks pretty. Design is not just visual. Design is efficiency. Design is making something simple. Design is editing. Design is making it easy for a user to get from point A to point B. Engineering is design. Every engineer in this room, every operator in this room, every customer service agent in this room is a designer, because you're designing constantly the interaction that you have with your tools or with your users or with your customers, and you're trying to bring efficiency and take all the thinking around out of that process. So everything we do here is design. We always want to make beautiful code. To this point, Keith 2 minutes before I was supposed to start this TownSquare, told me, stop, I got a mistake in my slides, I forgot to capitalize the S in squares. That level of perfection is what we want to achieve, because if we achieve that level of perfection, it's going to take a long time to do that, a lot of hours, then our users see it immediately, without thinking. And that's the important part. That is what design is. And look at this. This is gorgeous. I mean, just look at this bridge. It's amazing what was achieved with the resources we had and the time that these folks had to do this. Millions and millions of people go over this bridge. And one of the features of this bridge is it doesn't fall down. Reliability is a feature. Reliability is a feature. This is what Brian was saying earlier. Availability, reliability, and staying up, that's a feature. And that's a product. And it has to be designed. It has to be well designed and thought after and considered. And that's what we're doing here. Now, I've often spoken to the editorial nature of what I think my job is. I think I'm just an editor. And I think every CEO is an editor. I think every leader in any company is an editor. Taking all of these ideas and you're editing them down to one cohesive story. And in my case, my job is to edit the team. So we have the great team that can produce the great work. That means bringing people on, and in some cases having to let people go. It means editing the support for the company, which means having money in the bank or making money. And it means editing what the vision and the communication of the company is. So that's internal and external. What we're saying internally and what we're saying to the world. That's my job. And that's what every person in this company is also doing. We have all these inputs. We have all of these places that we could go, all of these things that we could do. But we need to present one cohesive story to the world. Brian said something that was very interesting to me a few weeks ago. He said, support and feedback is what our customers are telling us, and product is what we're telling our customers. I think that's an amazing, amazing statement. We have feedback loops, and then we speak something back. And the product, this company, is what we're telling the world. So we want to become, and I still need to talk about this point. Getting ahead of myself. So on this point, ideas can come from anyone. And they can come anytime. So we all have various directions that we want to take the company. And sometimes those ideas come during the shower. Sometimes they come when we're walking. Sometimes they come when we're talking with other employees at a coffee store. And sometimes you just want to build it. You just want to get it done. And we want to support that. If I want to go and create a screensaver that shows all of the signatures that are coming in Square in real time, and I want to go and spend my entire weekend doing that, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to finish it to my satisfaction so that I can come back to the company and say, look at what I did. This is amazing, this is beautiful, and I've had a lot of fun building this. And instead of saying, that's cool, but we didn't do it as a team, so let's not use it right now. Let's figure out how to say, that's awesome. Now let's figure out how to put it into production. So allowing folks to work on what they want and the strong, big ideas that they have at any point, and then figuring out how to build it into production and speaking to that point of reliability as a feature. Ideas happen to individuals, they happen to groups. We should allow for all of them. We should take all of them in, consider them. And if we don't act on an idea, then let's put it on the shelf. Don't throw it away. Let's put it on the shelf. We may use it later in a different way that wasn't its original intention. This gets us to become good storytellers, and that's what we want to do. This is about the editorial. As a lot of you know, this is one of my favorite magazines. This magazine is very interesting. It's actually a newspaper out of London. If you look through this magazine, you notice a few things. First, it has a beautiful unfolding. You open the first 2 pages, you get all of the news around the world in brief. Little 140-character news bites of what's happening. If you want to commit some more time, then you page through and you see the briefings. And they're half pages or pages. A little bit more about what's going on in the world, about what you just read, an expansion. If you want to commit even more to any direction or any topic that you find interesting, you can read the full articles, which are multiple pages. And then at the very back is the indicators, which are the economic indicators of what various aspects of the economy are doing. So the typical one that the economists is known for is the Big Mac index. That's the price of a Big Mac in all economies. The other thing you notice about this is that there's no bylines at all. There's no names in here. Not even the editor has a name. It's the economists. They're building the economists. They're writing articles for the economists. The editor says, I want to write about Obama and how he needs to step it up. It's time. He gets 5 or 6 articles, edits them into one thing that he thinks or she thinks. He will sell the magazine and tell the best story. And that becomes part of the magazine. This is done with every single article within the magazine. And effectively every single product and feature and aspect that we're building to our company. So, my point here is, this company is not going to be known by one person, or by 5 people, or by a multitude of people. It's going to be known by the product that we put out. We, in the Valley, think that Steve Jobs is Apple. We see Apple and we think Steve Jobs. But the mainstream audience doesn't know who the hell Steve Jobs is. They don't really care. They know that the Nano works, they love it, and they want to buy the next one. They could care less what this old guy in the black turtleneck does. Square is not going to be known by me. It's not going to be known as Peace Company. It's not going to be known as any individual company in here. It's going to be known as Square. That's what we want people to care about. And that's what we're trying to push. We're trying to push the product and the brand and our story above everything else. And if you ever see that not happening, then let's fix it. Tell me about it. We'll fix it. Okay, we'll help. This is not, so building beautiful things, it's not easy. You can give up easily. It's not a 9 to 5 job. This is a 9 to 5 bridge. Everything about this bridge says, do not cross me. First of all, I don't trust that's going to stay up. It's forcing me into these narrow lanes. It's got this mile-per-hour limit.
Is that the bridge on Boyd in St. Louis?
Yes. And it's got, like, what do you think this Porsche's thinking? This is terrible. This is terrible. This does not inspire. This is not aspirational to anyone.
When I worked at MasterCard, it was only the bridge on the right.
They have to switch bridges all the time. But this is not something I want to cross. This is not something I want to use. It's not something that I just like look at and say, wow, that's amazing. I say, wow, what the hell were they thinking? And a lot of people in our industry, this is what they're building. And these are the hours they're dedicating to it. It's terrible. This is the bridge I want to cross. This is how I want to arrive at a destination. This is classy. This is limitless. This is inspiring. This is gorgeous. Every single aspect of this is gorgeous. Think about all of the engineers and all of the architects and all the people that drove rock to this bridge and their families, and how happy and proud they are when they walk over this bridge. And when they see this bridge in newspapers, and they see it in movies, and they were part of this bridge, that's what we all want to feel. That's what I want to feel, and I know everyone in this room wants to feel. So this is why design is important. This is why this coordination is important. And this is how we're leading and building this company. So your homework for the weekend is to cross this bridge this weekend. Think about that. And then also think about how we take those lessons into doing what we want to do, which is carry every single transaction in the world. That's it.